this is just great. Hey, what's up guys? It's Carmen. Welcome back to my channel. As you guys can see, the set is a little bit different today. I am just sitting on my couch in my pajamas because I thought it'd be cool to kick off a series called Comfy Chats, where I just kind of lean back, sit, and talk to you guys about whatever is, you know, topic du jour. And this week I wanted to talk to you guys about changing careers. I get this question a lot, actually, more than I thought I would, about how I went from kind of digital media and marketing into sports. So I feel like I don't have anything written down, but I feel like it's gonna be a long video. So because of that, I will leave timestamps down below so you can skip around. I certainly will not make you watch this whole video if you don't want to. I will talk a little bit about my background, then I'll talk about how I got into sports and how I made it a bigger part of my life. And then finally, a couple tips and tricks on things people have either shared with me along the way or that I've learned along the way as I've transitioned into kind of my passion job. And yeah, hopefully you guys find this interesting. Hopefully it's helpful if you're also considering changing jobs or changing career paths, no matter where you are in your life. So if you like this video at any point, please give it a thumbs up. That would be so helpful. And if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe down below. Join the fam. Let's all be part of the same squad. So hit that subscribe button. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So I think let's talk a little bit about what I used to do. So I went to school at the Claremont colleges down in LA. I went to Pitzer specifically. I think I chose my major just arbitrarily. I think I turned in the papers the same day that it was due, and I found out that afternoon that I had to do it. So I just chose psychology and photography. So it wasn't necessarily oh, I always wanted to do this. It totally wasn't like that. I just chose something because I had to declare something. That was my background, but I knew that when I graduated I wanted to move outside of California. I did a brief stint in London, and then I also moved to New York after that was done. And New York is kind of where I wanted to be. I fantasized about living in New York. It was just everything to me. I love New York City, and I always have as a kid. My AIM screen name was Broadway Hopeful, if that gives you any indication of where I thought I'd be in life. I don't know. It's kind of embarrassing. I'm embarrassing, whatever. When I got there, I kind of had the mentality of I will take whoever will take me in whatever job I can get, because at that point I was I want to stay in New York, and to stay in New York I need to make money, obviously. And to make money, you need to just take whatever job falls at your doorstep. So I applied to a ton of different jobs, from actual marketing jobs to psych intern to receptionist, and I ended up getting a receptionist job at this company that is in New York City, and it was just literally a receptionist job. I probably overqualified for it. Took it anyways because I just wanted to pay my bills. I got a good vibe from the company, and eventually I started getting more and more responsibilities there, got promoted a bunch of times. But you know, honest, and I ended up being a salesperson for them, but long story short, somebody from that company ended up poaching me and taking me into an advertising agency, which is so Mad Men if you think about it. I didn't know what an advertising agency did or was at all, no clue. So I started as an account manager. I ended up moving into digital media. I had that job. So I ended up going into media sales at this company called Gorilla Nation. Doesn't even exist anymore, all good, whatever. But they did lay me off. A lot of people don't know. I was laid off from that job. I was not a seller. They wanted me to sell all this stuff, and I was just I would go and call on my list, and people would be oh no thanks, and I would be oh that's cool, and I was so non-aggressive that that's just not the mentality that a salesperson needs to have. I was a terrible salesperson. So anyways, at that point I decided to move to Seattle. Long story on that, but I moved to Seattle and ended up at a company called Razorfish, which is a advertising company as well. At that time, it was like a huge advertising company. It had so many different clients, Microsoft, Nike, Best Buy, whatever. I ended up working there as a media planner buyer as well. And it was great. I think it was a really great experience. Like, I met a lot of great people, but honestly, Seattle's just like not for me at all. Like, no offense if you live in Seattle, but like I went from New York City to Seattle. It was way sleepier than I wanted. I missed like the Bay Area a lot. I missed New York as well. So I think it was just like a weird transitional place that I was in. So I ended up moving back to San Francisco, got a job at this place called Goodby Silverstein and Company, which, is that what it's called? No, it's called Goodby Silverstein and Partners, and it's in San Francisco. It's another advertising company, less digital focused, more kind of on the TV side and creative side. If you saw that commercial that was like, who shot Alexander Hamilton? And the guy's like eating hella cookies and they're like, Aaron Burr, and they couldn't talk because they didn't have any milk. And it was a Got Milk commercial. They're the company that put that together. Ended up working there for a little bit, didn't feel that vibe as much. Then moved to this other company called Essence, had another job there, had another job at this company called MEC. And then finally, before I switched over careers, I was at this place called Quantcast. They are like an AI programmatic tech company. That's where I was last. I was doing some corporate marketing there, kind of sales marketing, things like that. And you know, here's what I'll say. During that time frame, I was doing a lot of other things as well. As you guys may know, I was working with Marty Lurie on the radio. I was doing that stuff, producing that stuff, whatever. I was sometimes doing freelance work for another company called Play On. I was doing like stuff here and there that was sports related. I loved it. Like, I really that was my passion, but I kind of felt like, all right, it's a hobby and that's fine. So meanwhile, I'm getting just aggressively frustrated at my current job, and I couldn't tell you why. It was almost like I felt trapped, and I wasn't enjoying it. And this is like absolutely no shade to the company. This is more like how I felt personally as where I was in life, because I was surrounded by really good people. You know, there was nothing wrong. Okay. It was just not, I was not feeling it. And it was very obvious to me because I'm highly, highly motivated as a person, and I could not motivate myself. And it was frustrating to me because I've always been somewhat of an overachiever, and for some reason I was like, is something wrong with me? Like, I can't like do that anymore, and I don't know why. It was extremely frustrating. So that's when I started to kind of take a look inside and think about where I was from a mental health standpoint, which was not a good place. It, you know, like, that's again another story, but I wasn't happy at all, and I was getting more anxiety for, you know, like, there was no pressure, I would say, at work, like, other than self-inflicted pressure, but I was anxious all the time. So it was just so, like, it was so weird to me because I just couldn't figure out what was bothering me. Fast forward where I'm doing more and more for kind of the job that I have with Marty. I'm, you know, doing more on-air interviews. I'm getting more opportunities there, and I'm really, really happy when I'm doing that. But I'm really, really unhappy every Monday through Friday when I have to go to work. So as this becomes, as kind of the gap between the two things that I'm doing becomes even wider, I really take a look at and evaluate where I am and why I just can't get out of my funk. And ultimately, after kind of talking through things with a lot of people that are close with me, I realized, hey, like, I think I'm just afraid to switch roles or to switch careers. Ultimately, that's what it came down to. I wanted to so bad. Like, I would have done it in a heartbeat if I wasn't so afraid. I'm thinking to myself, I'm in my mid-30s. I'm making really good money at this company. I have a mortgage. I have things to pay off. I have a life to lead. I want to go on vacation, etc., etc., etc. All these thoughts are going through my head that are basically financially motivated or perception-based motivated, meaning like I don't know what people will think of me. And I start to realize that those reasons are not good enough for me if I'm just deeply unhappy, right? Like I am at this point deeply unhappy in the place where I would say most of 2018 for me, I was filled with anxiety and depressed. I wish there was kind of this turning point that I could be like, that was it. This is the story that made me do X, Y, and Z. There wasn't. I ultimately decided I've had enough, like, of being just depressed for no reason. I would like to do something about it. And I decided to quit my job without another job lined up because I felt like if I didn't have that motivating me, like kind of, you know, me always having a job is something that I've always had a job with the exception of when I got laid off. And then I basically got a job like 2 weeks later. But I could not at first wrap my head around not having a job, an income, like consistency. That stuff really scares me. But I was like, maybe I need it. Maybe I need it to do what I need to do. So I said, all right, I'm quitting. I gave my 2 weeks. I said goodbye, and I put it out there in the world that I left my job. I was looking for opportunities in sports, and within a couple days, I had people calling or emailing me about opportunities. Because of kind of that, I, you know, ended up contracting with the San Jose Mercury. I ended up, you know, doing a couple things with Giants Outsider. I did a lot of things that I don't think would have happened unless I went out there and said, this is what I'm doing, and had the fear behind me pushing me forward, right? And then I was really able to like concentrate on doing a good job. Like I really like then got into Mid-Inning Relief, which is the podcast that I do with Marty Lurie and Allie Williams. Like I was able to dedicate more time to that. I was able to dedicate more time to writing for McCovey Chronicles, which I wrote for. I was able to develop my website. I was able to do so many things and start this YouTube channel. I would not have started this YouTube channel had I not quit my job. I just didn't have time. I was really like stretched to my max, and I was still trying to do everything. That was another thing that was stressing me out. Like I just had too much to do, and I was spending most of the time doing something that made me very unhappy. As soon as I kind of left my job, I realized how much happier I was doing what I was doing. I realized that people are interested in working with me. I do have skill sets that are valuable to people that can translate into sports, which is the field I was interested in. And ultimately, I feel like what I had to do was just push myself to do it, which sounds like so stupid, like what kind of advice is that? But ultimately you just have to commit to doing it and being okay with knowing that you may be uncomfortable for a given amount of time. And I think I say this with some privilege because I don't think that everybody can just afford to quit their job and, you know, follow their dreams. Like it's so millennial. I hate like it does sound really, really millennial, and I don't love that. But I do feel like if you have the opportunity, you owe it to yourself to make yourself happy, and you don't deserve to live and do something that you don't love for a living. You should love what you do for a living. So that's that. Kind of talking a little bit about how I got into sports and how I started making connections. Honestly, social media, like, sounds hella stupid because it's just social media, but almost every job that I've gotten from sports has been based off of social media. And that's really about like networking with people, making sure that people understand what your value proposition is. Obviously not like, hi, I'm Carbon and I blah, blah, blah. Like, but like, you know, I think once people get what you're about and they see that you're a committed, driven person, they'll come looking for you. So I feel like that's important, like, you know, maintaining social media, maintaining some sort of connection to people who can help you. And I don't think that means like you're using them. Like, I'm not using Marty. Like, that's not at all how the relationship works. I think it's just understanding who in your network, what they kind of bring to the table for you, and how you can mutually help each other. How can you help them and how can they help you? Ultimately, that's kind of how I saw it. Like, what value could I bring to to that relationship and like what could they help me with. I really don't feel like it's like using anybody. You know, I truly feel like it's like just figuring out the best ways you can work with people and thinking ahead, meaning like if you want to work with somebody, you need to figure that out. You know, you can't expect everything to come to you. You have to put it out there, and you have to be open to accepting help from people, even if that's not your nature. Don't be afraid to ask people for help. I find that actually a lot of times people are really afraid to ask for help, myself included. But once you do, you realize people just want to help you. Like, good people exist, and those people want to help. Like, it makes people feel good to help. Like, when people ask me for help, it actually makes me really, really happy, and I'm happy to do it. So I feel like that exists in the world. Knowing that makes me more confident about talking to people about what we could do when we work together. So I would strongly suggest that. And, you know, obviously I think that being places, and when you get an opportunity to make the most of it, show up on time, dress nice, offer help, you know, be easy, amenable, easy to work with is like, God, people underestimate what it means to be easy to work with. Just be flexible. Like, just do what you have to do. Work hard and don't get in the way. That's kind of how I feel in terms of sports, at least, if I'm talking specifically about that, because it's a hard trait. People are obviously trying to always put themselves in the limelight. They're trying to skip steps. And if you kind of just seize opportunities that are given to you by working really hard, showing up on time, being polite, being amenable, I think you're gonna go further than you think you will. Kind of moving into what I'm doing now, I'm working for the Relish, their sports media company that really focus on empowering women sports fans, putting them in the driver's seat and letting them kind of dictate what they want to talk about, broadcast their thoughts, and I love that so much, because obviously it's something I've struggled with, being in sports, kind of having my voice heard. Not only am I a woman, I am a minority and an immigrant to this country, so there's a lot of things I think that could be challenging if you are kind of underrepresented in that respect, and the Relish has really made it their mission statement to resolve that, to solve it, to close the gap, and I really, really believe in that. So I'm working for a company that now I feel so strongly about. Their success is my success in so many different ways. We're linked together inextricably, and I strongly believe that this is where I'm meant to be right now. So kind of closing out, I just wanted to give a few tips and tricks that either people told me or, again, I kind of just figured out or something. But number one is, don't be afraid. If you have the means to quit your job and just try to dedicate yourself to something else, you're never too old, you're never too late in your career. If you can make it work, if you have that privilege, you should do it. You deserve to be happy. Number two is just always be aware of what you're putting out into the universe, whether that be kind of just your energy or how you treat people. Like, I see all the time people treat people like shit because they think that they don't matter. That's completely incorrect and such a bad attitude towards how you should be, I don't know, interacting with people. And honestly, like, yes, I'm kind of saying it in the way of, you never know when you will work with somebody that you thought was unimportant, but mostly, like, be a good person, you know, because I do believe in karma. I do believe that what you put out there is what you get back. So that's another suggestion, a little bit of a softer suggestion than anything else. And then let people know that you're looking, because again, people want to help, so let them help you. Let people know that you're looking for opportunities, be specific. If you're asked to follow up immediately. Don't sit back, don't be in the passenger seat of your own career. Take the driver's seat, take the wheel, and do something about it, because nobody else is gonna do it for you. That's pretty much it for this video. I've just been rambling for so long. I feel like you're like, please shut up, but I hope that was helpful. I always wanna help. Like I said, people wanna help, I wanna help. So if you guys have any questions, please comment down below. I always respond to all my comments, so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And yeah, I hope that if you are looking or thinking about changing careers, that this encourages you to do so. And again, if you guys like this video, if you like comfy chats, then give this a like, subscribe down below, and just FYI, I think my uploading schedule will be somewhat irregular because I started, again, a new job. I don't really know what's going on with my schedule. I'm trying to like work it out. So bear with me. I will still try to do a video a week, if not a little late, but please subscribe down below and hit the notification bell so that you know when I upload and you don't miss any of my uploads. And yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. Also, like, I want to say thank you guys for supporting me as I go through my career change, because I did have a lot of people who had my back and gave me a lot of encouraging words, and that is so helpful for someone who needs constant validation. So yeah guys, thank you guys again for watching. I appreciate it so much, and I will check you guys later. Bye!